Hello, Ray Lee with Speedboat Magazine here with another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast. And I'm here as always with my bro, Myrick Coil. And we've got our other bro, as we've been working together for a long time, Mr. Icon himself, Bob Teague. How are you, Bob?
I'm doing great. Glad to be on the show. This is always fun, especially with Myrick here.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Bob.
That's actually my name. If you ever walk with me down the street, it's Hey Bob.
Hey Bob.
That's why
people say, "What is your name?" It's Hey Bob.
Yeah, so they want to talk. They want to talk about an engine, or they want to talk about their boat, and they want to relive.
Well, it's usually their brothers, friends, cousins, flat bottom that they've been working on for 10 years.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty fun. I mean, me not being so much of a West Coast guy, and then going to Havasu and hanging out with Bob. I mean, you meet some people, and they're definitely fans of Bob's, and so it's neat.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. You got pretty big fan base yourself, Myrick. You know? And then there's Ray Lee. He's like a rock star, Elvis Presley dude. You know.
Yeah, he is big time. I mean, I see him all over the place. All I got to do is flip on social media, and there he is.
There's actually more than one Ray Lee because they have an AI. They have an AI Ray Lee now. You know.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's not. Yeah. It's not flattering.
Yeah,
but
there is an AI Ray Lee.
Oh yeah, I've seen a couple. It's not good.
You look like Bobby Lee.
So I guess it's pretty cold there in Missouri today.
Yeah. Actually got up to 36 today, and I was contemplating on taking one of the rental pontoon boats out and busting through the ice in the cove, because we have all the bubblers, or they're basically like a little 110 electric motor with a propeller on it. And you hang it in the dock slip, and it just churns water, and it's all nice and thought out back around all the docks at the marina. But there's a gap that's about 150 yards out there where there is no docks, kind of at the no wake zone, that was still iced in. Yeah, some boats that I need to run 280 and outer limits, and I didn't think the customer would appreciate me taking their expensive whips across the top of the ice. So we held off today, but it definitely is going to become a problem, because I've heard of some sub-zero stuff coming up in the upcoming week or so.
In memory of you, I actually got up this morning and I was trying to decide whether or not I was going to wear shorts to work.
But... Yeah, bite me, bite me.
Yeah, I think Bob, we're looking at 80-degree temperatures this weekend, right?
This weekend, yeah, 77, 80, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be shorts for sure.
Yeah, yep. Sunscreen too.
It's funny. It rained like crazy here. Now nothing.
Did you have any mudslides?
Oh yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. California doesn't manage that stuff very well.
Yeah. Don't let you cut down. Didn't they cut down all the trees, or then?
No, they let them burn. And instead of managing the forest, that it burns everything, and so there's nothing to hold the mountainside up.
I see how it works.
Yeah. And some of the roads were cut in places where maybe the road shouldn't be too. So. Like next to a cliff.
Yeah. And that's one thing we got. You can build a house on a rock here, because that's all it is rock.
Right. And Bob, you speak from experience, because you used to be a fire captain.
I was an LA City fire captain, and not only have I been to floods, I've been to major brush fires, lots of homes involved and stuff like that. And I can tell you one thing about them is that you get a firestorm going, they're pretty hard to stop. You can't go fast enough to get ahead of it.
When I watch those big helicopters with the water, I don't know, call it a jug or a tank up below them, or whatever they call them. It seems like just it doesn't look like it works. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's like throwing a little bit of sand on a giant fire is what it looks like.
Yeah, well, it's the thing about the helicopters, and of course there's different sizes. They got the flying cranes too that carry quite a bit of water. But the one thing that's good about them is that one of the things that we're fighting in those kind of fires is crazy terrain. So at least they can go knock down the head of the fire where you can't really get safely by people. you got to be careful because if you get, up in the mountain area and you end up in kind of a valley, the fire can hook around and come up that crevice in the mountain and roast you. So
and I'm sure
really careful.
what is there, prevailing wind or just a wind that is pretty steady out there that probably just
well, there's that, and the fires generate their own wind.
Oh, really? I didn't think about that.
because of the draft from the fire, So it's a lot windier sometimes than the prevailing wind. That basically makes it worse.
Yeah, especially when they get locked in those canyons, it just kind of swirls around, just carries.
And what happens is that then it causes spot fires ahead. So now you're chasing it, and that's when it gets really bad. So
speaking of fires, Bob was watching the Sean Conner episode where we cut in you and Tyler in the boat when it was on fire from Sarasota.
The two of you in that boat, and you're going along. Yep, we got no fuel pressure. Oops, we have no oil pressure. She done blow it up. She blew it up.
We're on fire.
We're on fire.
I know that when I happened to see Mike D'Anibal afterwards, after he had gotten the engine and taken apart, obviously he didn't take it apart, but one of his guys took it apart, and he went out and looked at the table of mess, and he said, I haven't seen, that much carnage. And it was pretty much everything just purple. But I should have given you a picture.
Did it actually catch on fire?
Yeah, it did. I really don't know what caught on fire. Anything, I think maybe the crossover tubes on the exhaust, stuff like that. And it was hot enough in there, and there was enough fire that the deck of the boat was starting to be soft when we were walking on it in that area, basically above the fuel tank, because that area above the fuel tank is open. And
Well,
after it cooled off, it stiffened back up. So here you go, Rob Understall. Here's a boat that had a fire.
But see, the whole thing is that there's a lesson to be learned there. Fire extinguisher went through an opening in the deck, and you don't open the hatch to feed it with air.
We did until the fireboat was there. I mean, we emptied 2 or 3 of them in there, and I was like, I've seen this before. I know we're not supposed to open this. And then it's like, okay, fireboat's here. Let's open it. And we opened it. It was like, oh, well, we had gotten it out. Good thing we didn't open it. So
then you got to mess with the dry chemical everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Jake. Poor Jake. Jake Licklider freaking, because we had a race not too long after that. So that was Sarasota. And I don't remember what the next race was, maybe Sheboygan or something like that. But I mean, it was 2 weeks away, and Jake, lots of late nights, and he got her whipped out. But
yeah,
a lot of new parts.
Yeah, everything.
Like everything at least on the starboard side.
Right.
And
so I have a really good friend up in Discovery Bay, and he's got a 32 DCB with a pair of our 1300 plus motors in it, and he runs it hard all the time, and he and some other guys are running it hard all the time, and he drinks a fair amount of beer. Okay. And so anyway, I came over to his house, and he said, how much should I look at something on the motor? And I could tell that he's, got a piston that's burnt a little bit, and I says, hey, you need to take it easy on this thing until we get it to the shop, well, I'll just take it easy. So he went out and got in a race with a skater and another guy, 2 skaters and everything, and they're going 160 miles an hour down the water and yard sailed that motor.
Yeah.
There was a piece of the block that came out that had the freeze plug hole, the sender, the oil filter adapter, and everything laying in the bilge.
That's a big piece.
Yeah. And so,
all that.
And so I decided when I was the president of Pacific Offshore, every race that we had, at the end of the race, we'd have what we called the Dumbass Award. And the Dumbass Award was given to the guy that did the stupidest thing for the entire weekend, and everybody would tell on everybody all the time. So, if you drove your car over the spikes backwards and crap like that and put the propellers on backwards, just anything possible, put the boat in the wrong gear, drove over the dock.
A good conversation.
Everybody is like telling on everybody because they want to make sure
they want them to get the award.
Dumbass Award instead of them, right? So I decided that this is at the just before the big a year before. So then the next time we have the Big Cat Poker Run, which is the Lions Club Poker Run that I put on at Discovery Bay. And we have a VIP party this one night. We made a custom trophy that's now an annual trophy for that event. And it's called the What's That Noise? Hold My Beer Award.
In honor of your friend.
Okay, What's That Noise? Hold My Beer Award. And so we made a trophy out of the parts of the motor. And one of what's left of one of the connecting rods is actually holding a can of Coors. and I have to show it to you sometime. And then the biggest part of the piston was about that much right there, big as my thumb. And so we drilled a hole through it and hung it off a safety wire off the side of the rod. So
that's funny.
So now we have so every year we're going to come up with something like that, that somebody did.
Maybe we can do that at IHRA.
Yeah, that'd be fun. yeah, it'd be fun.
Bringing up another subject.
Bob would be able to enforce it. Yeah.
Segue.
Right.
Segue.
So maybe I can be the one that makes the final decision. If I have a lot of different
you get to vote on
things, and make it fun. After a really tough weekend of having people upset, then I can make some people laugh.
Speaking of, like Myrick said, you spent the last season being chief referee of the WPRA, and the news just came in that you've also just now been appointed the new chief referee of the IHRA sanctioning board. So congratulations, Bob.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, well, it's not a fun job, but it's an obligation to the sport. And the truth is, I've been doing this since 1973, and I've seen it go around in those 5 decades, maybe 10 times. Reorganize different organizations, a better idea, whatever you want to call it. And there's been some good ones, I got to admit. But somehow, when the good ones get really good, then somehow comes along and it's not good, and it gets changed to something else. And I think that right now, the IHRA is the best opportunity that we've ever had in this sport to really bring it to a professional level. And I am honored to be part of that, actually.
That's cool. I'm excited to race under their flag this year, not only for fairness and equality, but obviously prize money from my team owner and excitement for the fans to where they're going to be able to see it better. So all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And of course, what a lot of the people are looking for is rule enforcement, fair racing, professionalism, and all that, which is the goal of this whole organization. And so the rules are going to be enforced, and it's going to be a little tougher. And there's going to be penalties that people probably wouldn't expect, but that's the way it's got to go. And
and when you say sportsmanship, I'm sure you're talking about people that bash the sanctioning body, or in the bash the people that have to make the tough decisions that they might not necessarily want to make. It's for example, like the NFL, like Puka Nacua gets on there and starts lighting up the refs, and they fine him after the game. I mean, obviously they've got a lot more money usually and stuff like that, but it's don't just run your mouth all the time.
Well, I can tell you that there has been some incidents this last year and before where people go on social media, they or make a scene in the pits or whatever, public scene of some sort.
You talking about me?
Well, yeah, not officially, no, but I have, witnessed. I've actually witnessed taunting. I've actually witnessed seen stuff on the internet that's not going to be tolerated. And there's gonna be penalties for that. And the thing is that it's not just the owner of the boat, not the driver, not the throttleman. It could be the crew chief. It could be the guy that washes the boat. We don't care. The team is one, and so it's going to be professional. And of course, all the safety rules are going to be enforced and everything. So it's a different level. And some of the people that are racing now that haven't been racing that long have probably never experienced something like this that they've had in the past.
Yes. And I think of it a lot, especially with the people that I've been fortunate enough to race with, like Johnny or Dave McIntyre that's crewed over at UIM. I mean, they had rules that I thought were crazy. Like when you got to the crane, you got 3 minutes. After that 3 minutes, you're going to get a penalty. If that hatch is opened, you're DQ'd.
That's right.
Stuff like that. Stuff that where people, might take advantage of it here in the States. I mean, it was like you would hear about the chief referee over there, basically telling you this is what it is, and that's it. So
going back to the original concept of offshore racing, which is really marathon racing and the open ocean and everything, and there's always been a rule that says no outside assistance. If somebody gives you outside assistance, then you're done for the day, or whatever. These days, with all the technology and everything, outside assistance is something else that has to be watched fairly closely. When that boat leaves the dock, you're on your own. You're on your own until you come back and you get to come to inspection, and then you can open your hatches.
Yeah, especially with different locations having different areas. For example, the mole at Key West or the outer mole, and or people having, like even us, we have the at Monster. A lot of the times, Tyler will have a support boat there.
Right.
But yeah, it's like, oh, you can't do nothing. Get a referee. Yeah. That's all that stuff comes into play. If your crew member's moving the boat before a race, that crew member better have a life jacket on. Stuff like that. Stuff that people think, that don't matter, but it's a rule.
It's all going to matter. I'll tell you, when it comes to the organization, you can't do anything that discredits the organization. And that's the way it stays professional. And and you could see it in NHL, or you can see it in NASCAR or whatever. Everything's regulated that way. And I'll tell you a story, and this happened probably, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago. Bob Nordskog, who was the founder of Powerboat, but also was the president of Pacific Offshore before he died, and then when I took over. But Vic Edelbrock and another team guy were at a race at the Rum Run, which was in Huntington Harbor at the time. And they both had these new big rigs, with big smokestacks on them and all this stuff, and we're guests at the Long Beach Yacht Club. And they were out in the parking lot having a rev off with these two rigs, and covered the yacht club that was having a wedding with black diesel smoke. And we were sister club with California Yacht Club, Cal Yacht Club, which was in Marina Del Rey. And Doug Peters, who was the guy, John Peters' truck, and then Vic Edelbrock of Edelbrock fame. Bob Nordskog called him up because he got complained by the yacht club, and he called him up and told him they had to be in his office the next day. And I could see, I can remember it as clear as today. He sits there in the office and pulls his glasses down over his head, like in his eyes, and looks at these guys, and he says, "You guys embarrassed the club. So here's the deal. First of all, you're going to write an apology. And if you want to race with us again, each one of you needs to write a check to the Guide Dogs for the Blind for $10,000.
And that many years ago, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, there you are. There you are. We're sorry. We're sorry.
Got called to the principal's office.
Yeah,
for exactly sure, what it was. And John Peters was in Arizona, and Vic Edelbrock was in Torrance. I mean, it wasn't like just they got notified, be here tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So,
and they made the track.
There you go. They embarrassed the club. Well, so we don't want anybody to embarrass the organization. IHRA is definitely putting a lot of effort into this, and money, and
time,
we are going to be surrounded by really good people, the way I see it coming right now. Inspection staff and everything else. It's going to be amazing. And there's going to be some growing pains, I admit. It's going to take a little while to get it well oiled and everything. But by the time this year's over, we're going to be smoking.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about technical. I was thinking about Sean Steiner and his team, JR and everybody. I mean, that safety team has really stepped it up big time over the past 3 years too. I mean, it's great when you see the same faces every time. When you're going through physicals or when they're hopping in your boat for safety inspections or when you're going to the dunker test. I mean, those guys are ultimately the most important person there for us racers, the guys in the boat. I mean, in the end. So
especially when you see them when you're upside down. It happens. Yeah. And you get guys that you trust and know, and fortunately these days, especially in a catamaran, 90% of the time they float great upside down. They got a bottom hatch. So that's one thing good about our training. Of course, if you lose, integrity of the capsule and all that stuff, or the canopy glass or whatever, that's where all your training comes in for self extrication.
Yeah.
With your stuff.
Even Tyler and I were talking about today. We were talking about how violent Caleb Mead and Johnny Tomlinson's wreck in Key West was. And I mean, I know the deck of the boat took some shots, but the integrity of that boat was still, it wasn't rock like solid, a bunch of popsicle sticks all over the bay. It was, it held together and did what it was supposed to do. Both of them guys were out,
not only is the boat's good, but what Randy Sism has done with developing the canopies and stuff, they're top notch.
The best of the best inside there.
Those factory class 500 boats are probably some of the safest boats out there. Yeah. Because of the way they're built, and they're bigger, so they're not quite as potato chip flighty, like a super stock.
They're a lot more stable than, like you said. I don't know if I'd call them potato chips.
Well,
within a stock class,
it's a less technical term for a really light boat.
I get what you're saying. It paints a nice picture in everybody's.
We built the 39 cigarette with Don Arno, and it was one of the first Kevlar boats that they built, and they built it. They figured that they could build it really light, because it was Kevlar and everything, and the thing was like driving a trampoline. It was so flexible.
The flexibility
was unbelievable. You'd be going along, everything's good, and then you wouldn't even hit a bump. Next thing you know, it's in the sky.
Yeah. And it's the same way when you're cutting a hole in a skater, rigging a skater, and you hit some Kevlar. Yeah. You're like, what in the, you're sitting there with say you're drilling a 3-inch hole saw. You'll sit there and you're like, what am I hitting? And it literally will take you 5 times as long to get that hole drilled as a regular hole.
You got to get carbide hole saws to do that stuff. And
hey, so I know somebody who sells that.
I know somebody who can do that. And but it's funny you should say that, because we had a Scarab that was laid up by DuPont, and it was a Larry Smith Scarab, and it was like the first Kevlar boat they built, and it was absolutely bulletproof. But we rigged it. We didn't have any tools to drill holes in it. And so we had to, just like that, we had to figure all that stuff out. But it's tough stuff. But
I was told by somebody that a lot of the material that Kevlar is made out of sulfuric acid or something like that, or some sort of an acid. But when you drill in it, you get it smoking. It is a nasty smell that's hard. You shouldn't breathe.
Something chemical,
Oh, right.
Yeah, chemical reaction happens.
That's for sure.
Well, it's probably not good to breathe any of that stuff, including the carbon fiber and the balsa core and the foam core.
Good thing you guys are in California then.
Yeah, because you can't
Missouri,
even
we just breathe it right in Missouri.
You can't even bribe lacquer thinner here. Right? You got to buy it out of state. Yeah,
that's right.
And smuggle it in.
That's right. Everybody goes to Arizona to build a boat.
Yeah. So the other day, I went to order a new Streamlight. Like one of those switchblade things. Because I wanted another one for the engine room, and went on Amazon. They don't sell that in California. Amazon.
Oh, gee.
Because it's got a battery in it. So, I mean, so you're not on Amazon, you can't buy it. So I guess there's a new law about, batteries that aren't replaceable, that are inside something, and it causes cancer only in California.
I'll bring you one next time I see you.
That's Prop 65, right?
Yeah.
Here, Bob, don't open this in public.
Yeah.
Streamlight.
Yeah. It's all right. If you go over to Arizona, it won't cause cancer.
Yeah. I know I was doing something today and I was using aircraft, that it's like an aircraft paint remover, and you basically brush it on, it all bubbles up. I was like, man, I can remember when this stuff, if it touched your skin, it stung.
It hurt.
Yeah. And I was like, nowadays, I was like, man, I can barely feel it on there. I was like, it's probably causing cancer, so we don't get all the good stuff.
Bathroom to get to the hand of the sink.
Oh yeah. So, if it's splashed up on you or something, because you're using a brush to put it on usually, and it's like, oh my God, I got a little drop up here, but not today.
Well, you also
like carburetor cleaner. Carburetor cleaner used to be so good.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it'd take the paint off anything. Yeah,
that's right. Immediately.
Yeah.
So you can't buy that no more.
Yeah.
So, but there is one thing that works really good that you can still buy, and this is a little tech tip for y'all.
There you go.
You get your headers dark because if they got hot or something and they turn brown and all that stuff, and some
this
guys,
is an awesome trick.
Out the polish and stuff. It's called Bolex by Misty. It's a toilet bowl cleaner. It's 35% hydrochloric acid.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a brown header look new in 10 minutes.
I know. I've blown people's mind, and I've just used straight up Zing before.
You take the rags that you used and take them and wash them out and put them out in the dumpster. Because if any rag that has this stuff on it is anywhere around a workbench or something where you got tools, it will rust your chrome snap-on wrenches.
Yeah.
That are 10 feet away.
Yeah. So people will come in and they'll like, man, I've been polishing on my tailpipe in this one spot. I'll have a hot spot or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I polished it for hours, and we use this compound, all this. And I was like, watch this. I'll put some Zing, which is basically hull cleaner, on a rag and just wipe it and it's gone. They're like, what? It's like the most mind-blowing trick ever.
This is toilet bowl cleaner. You can get it at Sam's Club, and they'll even send it to you in a box.
Yeah. But you're right. You have to wash it off with soapy water and then penetrating oil and everything after that, because anything that was in that stainless steel that that has rust particle or things in it or that can rust is gonna rust.
That's right.
That's wild.
So that's your tip for the day. Don't drink it.
And don't get it. Don't get it. Wear rubber gloves.
It's got that warning thing on the side of the thing.
Do it in Arizona too. Don't do it in California.
Well, it only causes cancer in California.
That's right.
But you can't drink it in Arizona either.
Yeah, good.
Unless you're really
we're gonna have to put a disclaimer on here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this does not reflect the views and opinions of Boats and Bros.
So let's talk about the season coming up, Myrick. So what's going on with IMCON, y'all?
New boat.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
Is it going to make the first race?
Probably. I mean, we have another boat just in case, but there's going to be a point to where I'm going to need a few parts off of that other boat. So it's going to be the do or die. Like, are we going to make it? Because I'm going to need that. And then we start pulling that boat apart. And so
this is where guys are riding in the boat.
Boys. What's that?
This is where guys are riding in the boat on the way to the race, still rigging it.
I hope not.
Hanging off the back.
But you know what happens is Jake's having another baby. And I always think of Jake as my guy when it comes to IMCON. And so, perfect timing, Jake, again, having the baby again, because when we rigged the Super Cat, he was getting married. And then when we were rigging the other class one, he was having a baby. And now we're rigging the second class one, and he's having another baby.
So the point is that every time that
Tyler gets a new boat, then he's going to have a baby. Yeah. So I to be honest, I doubt that, because Tyler gets a lot of new boats.
Yeah, right.
How about this? So we got another new dog, and we have 4 kids and now 4 dogs and 2 ferrets. So every time Tyler gets a new boat, Myrick gets something new in his house
that eats.
Yeah, that eats, has a heartbeat, needs money to live.
Yeah, craps, everything else. Right?
Yeah, shits everywhere. Yeah. So Missy's over there shaking her head, looking at me with her new little puppy sitting on her lap.
Yeah, where's that puppy? Let's see that puppy.
Where's the puppy? Bring it here. Oh, Kennedy just took it out.
What's the puppy's name?
Lotto.
Yeah.
L-O-T-O.
Oh, look at that.
Look at you can go viral there, Lotto.
Yeah.
Look at she gonna fall asleep sitting here.
Is that the dog's name, Lotto?
Lotto, yeah.
Lotto, like Lake of the Ozarks. Yeah, so she had to go to work with me today. So the girls in the office, literally, she smells like a girl because girls just hold her all day long and look. She looks really excited, don't she? She's falling right asleep. So
back when I was the president of Pacific Offshore, and I was racing with Larry Kramer and Rob Storley, I was racing 2 boats, and we went to Corpus Christi, and we had a bunch of my guys with us and everything, and they have these outside bars there at Corpus Christi. It's like just a fence, and they don't have a roof, So we all went there, and I had a bunch of guys from my shop, and Sharon Kramer bought a puppy, a Irish setter, cute little dog. Well, we ended up naming the boat Bait because my employees, who were all single at the time, they would walk into the bar carrying this dog, chick magnet, right? Yeah. So 4 different guys had the dog, petting the dog, oh, so cute, get to know the girl, and then hands the dog off to another guy.
Yeah. So kind of like taking
so the dog was called
Carter
Bait
somewhere.
Yeah, because you call Carter Bait.
Yeah, well, I call Carter Bait for a different reason, and
same reason.
You don't know Carter, he's kind of a surfer boy and pretty good looking young man. But when I first met him, they said, "Hey, this is Carter." No, your name's Bait. And so it
like
stuck.
A puppy dog.
So, he said that's all BS. Well, we were at Shoguns in Lake Havasu having dinner. Ray was there and everything. I think you might have been there too. Or maybe you don't remember that night, actually.
That's a common theme.
So we are. Yeah, you were there because anyway,
you pissed off.
We were sitting over at this table. We had a whole bunch of us, and behind us, was this other table, and Carter's sitting there, and we made fun about this, and these 2 cougars walk up to Carter, and it says, "Can we take our picture with you?" Yeah. And he's like red as a beet, but they were all over him. So now we call him a Cougar Carter. So
yeah, somebody called me to something, or no, Jace from MCon called to me today, and I don't know what he's working on. He's like, "You got a nickname?" And I was like, he said, the koozie calls you the mechanic. And I was like, I think Lindsay made that up because, Tyler's the ditch digger, and it was basically just a reflection of our jobs, the mechanic. Right. I was like, the mechanic works. But most of the nicknames I've had through my life, I should have told him Bonehead, because that's what most of my uncles have passed away, but they always called me Bonehead. Growing up, I was Bone. But as soon as I moved away from Illinois, the Bonehead, other than when my uncles, and God rest their souls, would call me Bonehead or Bone. But I forgot about it until right now.
When I was in the college YMCA, and you brought this up, and it's just kind of hard to believe. Remember Wolfman Jack? You guys may not remember. Yeah, Wolfman Jack, right? Yeah. And so anyway, I could imitate that guy perfectly.
Do it.
And he was on a radio station that was in Mexico or something.
Yeah.
And so people start calling me Wolfman Bob.
That one's gonna stick.
So yeah, I mean, I could, I got it down. And I could probably do it now, but I'm not gonna. And yeah, he was on XCRB. That was the radio station, and it was like 500,000 watts and broadcasting out of Mexico somewhere, and,
Yeah.
and anybody that was within 10 miles of there probably melted their radio because it was such a powerful radio station.
Yeah. They had a headache when they were listening to it. They didn't know why.
Yeah. Okay, Ray. So nickname?
Never really had very many or any at all. Elvis, because of the hair and stuff. Not much else after that.
So my oldest grandson, Crew, this Josh and Sherilyn's boy.
Polite young man.
Oh, he's very polite, and then there's the next one is Nixon. Okay, so
crazy, not polite young man, but a lot crazier.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's
know them well.
One of these days he's gonna kick Crew's ass for sure.
Poor Crew.
I can see it brew. I can see it brewing. And he's tough. And so, anyway, I'm looking at the magazines. The Speedboat Magazine with him, and I'm sitting down, and we're boat, and this and that and the other, and he points at the picture of Ray Lee, and I said, Ray Lee, like that, So, pretty soon, about 2 more times, next thing you go, every time he picks up a magazine, he opens up Ray Lee, just like that. He couldn't even say Mama, and he's saying Ray Lee, and this concerns me a little bit. So.
That's funny.
But
that's because our column pages are right next to each other. So it'd be Ray Lee and then
Ray
Baba.
Lee.
Yeah,
right,
and then
Ray
Baba.
Lee, yeah. And so, my goal has always been to have the grandkids say my name first before Mama, Dad, and all that stuff. So
I'm sure that worked.
Baba. So
well, I'll give you credit. Whenever we go out of town and you have the kids, I mean, you can tell you really love those boys, and
I do.
It's
but on the other hand, I'm the last word. I'm also the drill sergeant. And so, but they respect that, and and they're really good athletes, and they're really smart at school, and I've got them going to a Christian school out here. It's called Legacy, and they do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning, and they have a prayer and all this other stuff, and there's all kinds of school activities and stuff, and we can hardly keep up.
Yeah.
But
and some of that credit goes to Sherilyn and Josh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Good parents. Yeah.
And they boat like crazy, and they've been doing it since they were 0.
Yeah. That seems to be a common theme with boating people. We spoke with Sean Peters, Taylor Sism's husband, and he said they took little Pearl out when she was 0. And I'm sure you did too, Myrick, with your kids.
My daughter, by the time she was 6 weeks old, she spent half of her life camping on a boating trip.
Yeah. That's cool.
Because she was born, and in 3 weeks, we went on our trip.
Yeah.
And, they're really easy then. You just a little package, you just carry them around, and
they fall asleep on the boat.
Yeah, and you set them down, and they stay there. They don't leave. They don't walk away. And so,
Unlike Myrick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or my kids or my dogs. That's way harder. And now that they get, but you go back and talk about that age, that when they're so little, and it's something that you love and something that they love because it's a family event. It's one of the reasons why Preston is so good at what he does, being 50 or 17 now, but he could drive any boat at 16 years old. And I think that's and going to racing, I think that's one of the reasons why when guys that drive boats all the time, say for like a Julian Maldonado or, sorry, didn't want to butcher your last name up, but or Johnny Tomlinson or me or people that drive boats every day, and it's just like a calming thing to where I was in a boat yesterday and now I'm in a boat today. It's no different. I mean, I'm
in one several times a week.
Yeah. So exactly.
But people go, you're really lucky. You get to go boating. Hey, dude, this is work.
Yeah.
Yes,
it is.
Yeah.
It is that.
Yeah.
But the whole just doing it every day, just like driving your car. So for example, you drive your car every day, it's way easier. So
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
and it's also some downtime.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's a little bit of downtime. I was
To be in your own head.
and I'll say this: there's only a few people. I'm that guy that doesn't ride very well in boats. I drive. He drives. Let's go with that. But there are a few people that I will ride with, and Myrick is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too, Bob.
Yeah.
You too. I think that, and obviously Randy Sism, Johnny Tomlinson, these guys, they're icons, of this.
Well, I've
sport.
actually ridden with both of them, of course.
Yeah.
And then Johnny's actually driven my race boats a couple of times, and of course, back in the powerboat days, Johnny and I were testing together like you and I are now. And it makes the test more valid. I think that right now the speedboat test program is the best and definitely most accurate. And I've gotten in trouble for that, but sometimes you got to call it the way it is. And Myrick gets me in trouble. And
yeah,
and
like
then Ray chews
you
our
need a
butt.
disclaimer on your hat right above you.
Yeah.
Says it how it is.
Good, bad, or indifferent. So
So
that issue's coming out with the evaluations that we did last October. So
that's exciting.
You guys got some good stuff out of that whole session. So
and the work that Ray puts in, and all the boat manufacturers, because it's not always easy to get a boat to an event that is just going to get looked at and judged and then taken, and then it's got to go somewhere. It's different than evaluating something at the Miami Boat Show or the shootout, where there's a lot of events going on. It's there for that reason. So
it's actually a competition, because it people want to normally put their best foot forward, and when they don't, it's reflected in their report. And of course, in the program, a lot of people don't know this, but and I brought this with me, is if we have a boat that is truly unsafe, it doesn't handle right, it's not dialed in or whatever, we'll stop the test, and we will take it back to the manufacturer and say, hey, we're not testing this boat the way it is, and you have an opportunity to bring it back and resubmit it, but if you say it's the way
has happened.
It has.
And there has been times when a manufacturer is stupid enough to say, hey, no, this is the way it is, it's good, and then we print the article and they don't like the article,
right?
So
well, and kudos
we are mostly trying to help the industry improve, but we're also working to provide a better product for the consumer, the people that are buying the boats and stuff like that.
Yeah. And you guys are such consummate professionals, and I'm proud to have both of you on the speedboat team. It's amazing what you guys can feel just by driving it, listening to it, just by getting it on plane, or how it handles on the water. And you guys hear something that 90% of the people wouldn't pick up on, and you guys know how to either steer out of that or correct it in the way you drive, or even beyond that, you can give constructive criticism to said manufacturer to improve it.
Because most of the time where one of the high managers or owners is there on the dock, and they're and the guys that are standing there asking questions, that's the kind of owner / manager you want, to take that input.
There's also those times every once in a while that we have to save something. The boat does something that we didn't expect.
Right.
And the way the test is done is, we're not just out driving the boats around. We have a structured evaluation format that we use. And part of it is designed to familiarize yourself with the boat and its characteristics before you get into the situation where you're doing, more strenuous things that most people wouldn't do. And, but you have to do things that people could do. And with with in mind of what the purpose of the boat is. I mean, you're not going to test a tournament ski boat the same as you test a 40-foot inboard catamaran, for example. So you have to keep in mind. And then one of the things that you always put in the back of my mind is that before I'm doing the test, I already know how much the boat costs, because you're also thinking about value, and some boats are way too expensive for how nice they are, and some boats are really good for the price. I think of a couple of manufacturers, one here in California, for example, that I think their boats are really a good value, and they
I know which one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
I think Shockwave is the one you're thinking
of. That's exactly what I was thinking of, as a matter of fact.
It blows me away. I look at the price, and then I go around the boat, and I'm like, man, that's a good running boat.
Yeah.
And I always use, when I'm doing our voice memos afterwards, I bang for your buck, man. I use that term a lot, and it's cool. It's cool.
Well, you'll find that, generally speaking, the boat companies that build boats that have the principal or the owner or something directly involved, either with their hands or, overseeing it and everything, those are the ones that usually come to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have been doing it for a while.
That's right. You look at the ones that are the prominent catamaran builders, for example, and the prominent V-bottom builders, and the West Coast guys like Shockwave, for example. Bob Anderson is in that boat himself.
Yeah, in every boat that he builds.
Every boat, right? So when you run a company that deals with custom stuff like I do, you have to be with the people all the time, accessible. And if the toilets need to be cleaned, you got to do that too.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that we're talking about this, because we're currently working on the video edit of our evaluation of all the boats. And so I just sent Carter a bunch of the GoPro footage that we mount on the boats while we're testing boats. And, Drew Lang is another one that tests with the three of us. And so we go out there and try and extract the best performance out of the boat, and Top Speed is one of it. And to watch both you guys work the wheel and the trim and try and extract that last mile an hour, that's always the fun part. And like, I sent it to Carter, and I think Myrick, you and I were testing the Shockwave, and we were going for that big number, and you were like leaned way forward trying to get the speed in, and I was leaned way back in the seat.
Get your head out of the wind.
As aerodynamic as we could. Yeah. Trying to get that last number.
Trying to get off a 9.
Never leave it on a 9.
Yeah, right. You said 79, you can't get 80.
Yeah, right.
I know.
But
see, it's even worse when it's like, now we have a test digital.
And it goes 79, we're not going to say it went 80.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. I've left him at point, like when you do on the Garmin, sometimes when you don't make it to 100, it has point whatever, and you might be sitting there like 79.9.
Come on.
Like, you really a tenth.
I'm holding it down and everything, and the water's a little bit crazy, and it's getting better and better. And Ray's looking at me, and then all of a sudden it goes over the stuff.
The small victories.
Done it many times. It's fun. Yeah. It is cool, and it is neat for a manufacturer, because I really like running those small. I've talked about them before, and I think Adrian bought the molds.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's calling
like
them
an STV.
Knox boats now. Yeah.
What are they called?
Knox.
It's like an STV.
Yeah. But man,
what's the brand?
No, I think he's talking about the old like the it used to be the maxed out Marine family cruiser.
Hallett 21 maybe.
Oh, okay, yeah, right, yeah.
I love running those things.
Oh, it's a Vector.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, well, one of the Hallett 21s was a Vector. That I actually drove the one for the Hallett group that time.
Yeah, so the one that I'm thinking about is the one that has came to us, and it was maxed out marine. One came with like a 520 in it, and the other one came with a 300R. It's a Howard.
Was a Howard.
Yeah, I'd
right.
say
that
Howard.
was a Howard. Okay, I'll give you a little story about that. A Howard day cruiser is a Spectra. Okay, so Spectra was a boat company that grew out of Campbell Boat Company that ended up in Havasu, but and they were one of the first companies to go to Havasu, but they were in Burbank and Glendale at the time. And when they moved that company to Havasu, Bob and Bill Campbell, a lot of the employees didn't want to go, and so another two guys, Jim Sullivan and his partner, at the time, owned a company called Spectra Color, with an A, Spectra Color, and I think that they actually were a place that did printing of porn magazines or something like that. So
I see something like at the beginning of movies. It was something that sounded like
Spectravision.
Yeah. So Bob DeLong and Jim Sullivan owned this company, and they had Campbell boats. So they took all the people that didn't want to go to Campbell, and Havasu, and started Spectra boats, along with Bud Bailey, who was the guy that designed all the Spectras and designed the Campbells. So Spectra lasted until 1980, when somehow miraculously their factory burned down. And so you got tired of doing it, whatever. And so Spectra built a 18 and a 20, what they call a Spectra 20, and two models of a 24, which actually I did a couple of those 20. I did a 24 for Parnelli Jones.
Really?
And back in the day, and
what power was in it?
It had a turbo motor in it.
Oh, really?
It was a Bank system, but on a, in those days, a 468 cubic inch Chevrolet kind of thing. And it was a V drive, and so I got a picture of it on my wall here. So anyway, the way they did this, it had the silica sand. This is what they made the non-skid with in the deck, and it was done by. And originally the boats were wood tops, so they had to do this the same every time. So they would put white gel coat down and then sprinkle this 1550 silica sand in it, and then they would move the tape line, and they would blow it off with air, and then they would gel coat over it, and that's how you had the non-skid. Well, the original Spectras had that on it, and then they made a mold out of the plug and had that in the mold. Well, when Howard splashed that boat, it had the same mistake in the non-skid, and so that boat, but the boat that you drove, actually since then they changed the deck and changed the non-skid, but that's still
it was more like crater like, or
right,
mountainous, like you could tell it was in the gel coat, because it's aggressive. So it's like a 6-inch band all the way around the
so the Howard 20, I mean, there were other boats that Howard had, but that 20 day cruiser, which they built jet boats and V drives out of, and then a few stern drives with like a 260 package with an Alpha or something like that. That boat was a Spectra, and then the maxed out marine one was basically the Howard. So that's how it evolved.
And now Adrian bought the molds, and what are they called? Knox?
Knox, N-O-X.
What's that stand for?
I don't know. I think it's a friend of his or something like
that. He wants you to ask, and that way now you're thinking about the boat.
It's the same thing as what does AJ stand for?
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people know.
Yeah. What was his nickname? It starts with Adrian.
Right. Is a
jackass.
So anyway, all of that stuff in California is having a resurgence. The 21-foot Shiata day cruisers and the V drives and all that stuff. It's it's like in the roadster world, of hot rods and muscle cars and stuff like that. That stuff's coming back.
Yeah,
I mean, it's coming. It's super expensive.
I had a customer send me a boat the other day. I was thinking about asking you, Bob. It was called I remember Ben Moore. sent me a picture, and it was a little catamaran that it was on. He sent it to me on Facebook, but the actual boat was cool, man. Yeah. Yeah. So as a little, you see this thing?
Oh,
yeah,
that was at the Outlaw Nationals.
Was
yeah,
it?
that
Yeah,
And it
that's
had twin like 115s or 135s on it. What's it called? Super Cat, it says.
Mm-hmm.
But man, look
it kind
at
of
this
looks like an
thing.
old Beesmeyer.
It's got old Mercury's on it. Yep.
Yeah.
It says Crazy Cat on it, and it's got some old Mercs on it. I mean, talk about vintage cool looking.
Oh, for sure.
Way ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Billy B.
Yeah, Billy B painted it. Billy B is a kind of a famous flat bottom painter out here.
Oh,
you know,
really?
like
crazy colors.
The colors are so, that mint color with, and then you see stainless steel like car accents on the dash of that
it's total like old school vintage car.
Yeah, steering wheel
in the interior.
Looks like something out of an Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
I think we put out a video of that exact boat at that event. Yeah.
Yeah, like look at that, the nav lights. I mean, it looks like a hood ornament.
It's actually not a catamaran. It's actually two V hulls.
Oh yeah, because it really has
exactly. Yeah,
I've actually doesn't run as good as it looks, but I mean,
but you take it to the drive-in movie.
Yeah, sit in the back,
make out.
So
idling her up and down the channel. Yeah, with smoke rolling out the back.
What was the guy's name? Carson, not Carson, but I can't remember the boat manufacturer guy now, but he actually did that too.
I've always wondered, and that's a question I wonder: have you ever ran a Switzer wing?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh wow!
The way they look and how innovative they look for their time, the way the engines were molded into the back and everything.
Okay, so it's basically two aluminum fuselages.
Okay, airplane
connected together. You know.
Okay.
And you sit in one.
Yeah.
And they don't turn.
All about going straight. It's kind of like a swamp buggy.
Yeah. Well, I had a chance one time, but Bob Nordskog raced one in the Parker Enduro one time, and making that turn at the end of the straightaway was a challenge because it just goes sideways when you turn the wheel and the boat keeps going the same way. It's just pointing in a different way, you know. And,
didn't have much of a keel in it, I guess.
No, it's kind of round. It was more like a tube. And so
it's like driving a tank.
That goes way back. The Switzer wings and a lot of times the guys were running like the Mercury motors with the tune pipes on them and all that stuff.
Yeah, the megaphones. Yeah, that's dope.
I mean, it give you a headache just when they go by. They're so loud, And
it's like a trumpet hanging off the back.
Yeah. Mark, that it just came to me, that boat that you showed us in the video, that's actually Billy B's personal boat, and he's taken like 20 years to restore, and you just got that one done for that show. So you guys
know this guy? I want to see a video of it going down the water, or just him out boating.
I told him I wanted to do a shoot with it, and he said he'd let me know. And then he's got another one that he's going to try and put together as well.
Yeah, that's neat.
So, Bob, what are you anticipating for the 2026 IHRA offshore season as chief referee?
Well, I'm anticipating, first of all, having good support, because that's what it takes to do a good job.
Yeah. Along with you, it was announced that Gary Stray is on your team as well. What is his role?
He's going to be the lead tech.
Okay.
In other words, we're going to have a group of technical inspectors, but he'd be the guy that's in charge of those people.
Yeah.
And then reports to me.
Right.
And so he's a good guy for that because he knows boats very well. He's been all around the industry for a long time, and
smart. Extreme
and smart and
thinks outside of the box.
Yeah, thinks outside of the box. You know, when his name came up, I went, yeah. Yeah. And so I called him up, you know, because we've over the years, you know, done different things, you know, together, worked on projects. And of course he was with Geico back in the days. And in the John Hagen days and all those things, you know.
Yeah.
And so you know, I called him up and I says, hey, I understand somebody mentioned your name for being you know, chief inspector or lead tech, whatever. And he says, yeah. And the way they mentioned it to me was more like, you know, that, yeah, it's a done deal. And I called him up and I said, so what do you think? And he says, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm going to be the chief referee. And he goes, okay, I'm doing it. So
he can give all the input to you and see what he's seeing and how he sees it.
The way it's supposed to work is, you know, the chief referee is the final authority. And that's the way the rule book's written, and it has been written for quite some time. But it's much clearer in the new rule book, which will be out very shortly, or probably by the time you see this is going to be out. And it's supposed to be that, you know, people like the inspectors or the people that, you know, observe different infractions on the course and everything, they report it to the chief referee, and the chief referee handles it. In other words, they're not involved in the enforcement side of it, just the chief referee is. And I'm not saying that I'm a unilateral decision maker, because you know, there's going to be a lot of complicated things, and I got a bunch of people that are around me that I can use, people that are on the board and things like that, that may not be involved in this particular incident, but I really trust a lot. And you can bounce things off to everything, so you know you're making the right decision, because some of them are going to be tough.
Yeah.
And because the rules are going to be upheld. And I kind of look at it this way, you know, you might upset one guy, but then on the other hand, at the same time, make 10 guys happy. So it's, you know, it's the way it is. But I'm looking at it as an opportunity to influence at the best I can in a positive manner, this opportunity for a growth of the sport, which has been my lifetime, you know, that I've been involved in. I've raced basically every class almost that ever existed in offshore, and all the different things when they changed, you know, the classes around with the POPRA and APBA and whatever. So, you know, I understand what the guys are going through out there. I understand what it feels like when you think that somebody did something or whatever. But this whole deal of racers protesting each other for race course infractions, that's going to come to an end.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have drones. We're going to have people. We're going to have officials that are going to be the ones that call the infractions. You know, and if there's something that happens that somebody brings to our attention, then we'll have an opportunity to go look at it. You know, but what we want everybody to do is race clean and race professional, and don't win the race by complaining. And you know, you always got to ask yourself this: would you have protested if you won?
Yeah.
And usually the answer is no, I wouldn't have. You know, so what we're trying to do right now is to really make going to make the sport more professional. And in a lot of respects, just like you said, you know, the way the people conduct themselves, the way they show up to the race site, you know, having all their stuff done correctly, compliance to the rules technically, and especially the spec rules and all that stuff. And it's not just the spec classes like Mod V, Super V, and Super Cat, which, you know, have rules that have to be confined to, but all these other classes like the 1100 classes and the Pro Class 1s, and also the outboard classes like Super Stock and factory stock. You know, there's rules that have to be conformed to, and also there are things that we know that have been being done to some of those motors and other things.
Well,
and we're gonna have staff and people that are smart enough to be able to detect that, and we're going to have enough of them to do the job right.
Yeah.
Well, I am not saying it to fluff you at all, but it takes somebody with broad knowledge of all boats, because there's a lot of different classes, not a lot of different engine packages, a lot of different things. And I think they picked a good guy for the job. And I think it's cool that somebody that has been doing it as long as you have and is in the industry to understand it and been involved in racing, for so long, that has seen a lot of different things. And that's what it takes. It takes that knowledge, and then to have backers, like you said, like Gary Stray and the rest of your crew, which, we'll see who it is, and to have IHRA backing you up. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, me too. If I didn't feel that was in place, then it would be, I'd have second thoughts, because it's not going to be fun all the time. And
yeah, because Myrick, didn't you initially advise Bob not to take the job last season with the WP? Right?
Well, no, he just basically, it was just through conversation. He's like, hey, they kind of, and I go, why would you fucking want to do that?
Well, okay, so
he's like,
not beating around the bush.
Yeah, so to be real on this thing, I had, I basically told Leah Martin that, whatever you need, I'll help you out, kind of a thing, because I started volunteering for the Lake of the Ozark Shootout like 15 years ago, and so. And I got a lot of things going on in my life that are involved charities and things like that, like, the poker runs I put on and the junior lifeguard program and all that stuff. So, yeah. Okay. So what do you need? So this is how I found out. There was a sanction that came out for the lotto race, and my name was listed as the chief referee. That's what you call voluntold. Okay.
Voluntold.
And so I go, hey, what's this? She says, well, you said you'd do whatever I needed.
This is what I needed.
This is what I needed. So, and then of course that evolved into the WPRA thing, which we ended up being the sanctioning organization for the Race World Offshore Races. So that has challenging moments.
And from a racer's perspective, I hadn't had, in my years past, I hadn't had that many techs or inspectors in our boats for years, compared to what we had this last year. And, if you have nothing to hide, go ahead. You just hop up in there. What do you need to know? What do you want to see? Kind of thing. So it's,
So that's the way it's going to be. And we like to think that everybody is racing with their talent and setup. And honestly, I've never had a boat that was not compliant in my life. And I wouldn't even feel good about winning a race with a non-legal boat. But I was very happy about beating guys that I knew were cheating, but my boat was legal and I still beat their ass, it's always been a thing. Guys think that, well, they need that edge, it's almost like they need a fix. I don't know. Do it right and learn your boat and learn and learn how to make it competitive. That's all I can tell you. But don't do it by trying to paint.
We've been working on the How to Live boat, and with Mike Howe and
Cade Wilson.
But it's literally, you build the boat and you're like, I tell you what, it's close. Now it's up to you guys, because that's the biggest thing that you can do to make that boat better, is the two guys or the crew, not necessarily the guys. And bringing that up is, I was excited to see Billy Allen has Sabrina Kowalik going to be in the boat full time this year.
Yeah, we helped them announce that press release this week. That's that was very cool.
I was excited for that. I mean,
back in the Cat Light days when you could run the boat endless number of hours, Paul Whittier and I tested more than we raced.
Yeah, that's cool.
We try everything, so we knew exactly what we had, going into the race. Yeah,
and that was one of the beauties of the the stock class and the 500 class, and even Supercat class went away from that a little bit because their engines, I mean, they back in the early days when I first started, they were high compression, even 7,600 RPMs, I think. Now they're lower compression, 7,000, so they helped it out a little bit for longevity. But now with the open head rule and stuff, I think the valve trains can be taking a beating. But the QC4Vs, I mean, on the set of engines that we raced in MCON half of last year, they were going on their third season. So,
Wow.
obviously they didn't have hundreds of hours on them, but they might have had 100 hours on them. But
Right.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, a proper built Supercat engine should last the whole season.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's properly built and it's not crazy, it should last the whole season. And if it's the kind of deal where, I mean, carrying a spare motor is a good idea, because if you have some weird ass thing go on, only one time in my life I've had to change a motor to race, a Supercat motor, but if you have a bullet, it's always there. And of course, if you got one set up for the right side, the left motor is going to blow up. Every time.
I always think of a spare engine as a good part store too.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
Go yank that right off
that's
there.
on the motor is in that motor. And
so I need a rocker arm. I need an MSD box. I need a carburetor. Right. I got it.
Yeah, right. That's actually a very good analogy. That it is sitting there and it's complete, and so that at least you got that if everything else fails. So, I think that right now the Mod V rules, which is becoming a real competitive class again.
Fun to watch.
Yeah, I think that those guys, and by the way, for the most part, those are safe boats. I mean, the speed that they go and the way they're built, the canopies and everything. I think that they're, you saw what Sunprint did.
With the corkscrew.
He got 3 pirouettes in the air, landed upside down, backwards, and
didn't fine.
And so
that had to be the shot of the year this year.
And so
it was wild.
And so anyway, those are really good boats. So and they're the same thing, because if the engines are basically contained to some limitations, they got good reliability with them for the most part.
Yeah.
And I think that right now the group of classes, the way it is, you got classes that I'm talking about the upper classes, the spec classes, and the mercury powered stuff. Well,
that's just it. I mean, with the prize money that IHRA is bringing to the sport, I mean, it's just increasing the level of competition. There's like we said on the last podcast, there's 11 Supercats competing this, which has been the most in at least a decade, Myrick, or longer.
Yeah, I think that the last time I remember hearing that many, it would have probably been like 05, 06, something like that. And
that's when I first in 07 or 08, we had like 14 cat lights.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was crazy racing. They and then another thing that Daryl Cuddle really is involved with is sport class racing, sportsman class racing, even in the drag racing and all the other things they're involved in, and which is providing in our format now a true place for the bracket classes to run, and a format and treated like welcome to the whole group and everything. So
his whole effort is about grassroots and
that's right. And so people say, well, that this it's something that we're going to support, and fortunately we have Smitty from OPA and Nick Smith as well. They're going to help manage that whole deal. They have had the most success with bracket class boats, and so it's going to be improve that whole group of people as well. And so
because if somebody wants to get a start, that's definitely other than getting lucky like I did over the years through just being around cool boats. But if you're wanting to get in there and get the experience, you definitely start with a bracket boat to get your laps in and just understand how it all works.
So when I started racing, first of all, there was no such thing as a GPS. In fact, the first time we ever used any electronic assistance is when one of our runs from San Francisco to LA, we tried to use the Loran, and that didn't work out so good because they don't think fast enough. So compasses and stopwatches, that's what we had. And and so we couldn't have bracket classes because we had no way to control the speed, And when you think about how this has evolved, I mean, we got what's the fastest V bottom now, 180 miles an hour, something like that, and in the catamarans, how good they are and everything. And Bob Norskog set the world nautical mile speed record in Marina del Rey. And I think it was about 1977. It was in our 35 Mistress, 90.555 miles an hour.
Wow.
That no one was ever going to go faster than that. If you
You
did,
can do that. You can do that in
lose
a center console with 10 people now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everything goes. Yeah, you're doing a bass boat.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the perception of where we have come in technology and materials and hull designs and
anymore you get into a modern day race boat like your boat's going to be, Myrick. I mean, it's like a spaceship. With all the controls and
we've
lights
been ordering parts and stuff, and even the How to Live, Ray Marine and Fleer are his sponsors. And I don't mess with much Ray Marine stuff, but they sent all of this whole kit of thermo imaging cameras that go in the bilge, so you could literally see a hot spot or stuff like that. I mean, it's wild stuff. I mean, it's not something you're probably going to be using at, real time during the race. But if you were to be testing and your bilge pump light goes on, you could probably then pull up that screen and be like, hey, look at the starboard bilge. There's a water leak without even climbing out of the boat and looking in the bilge, So stuff like that's cool. And
it's going to be an outstanding season. We're about 2 months away. So, Bob, congratulations on your new appointment as chief referee of the IHRA Offshore Racing Series. Myrick, your new boat is coming soon. I can't wait to see that thing come together and see it in St. Pete and get out there and compete.
We're going to look at it real close. Yeah.
Better get your magnifying glass out, buddy.
Take it back. Take it back. I'll see you next race.
Yeah, that's fun.
Bob, thanks for joining us. This has been another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast. Please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Bob, see you. Myrick, we'll see you soon.
Thanks, care.
Bob.
All right.
This podcast is powered by Speedboat Magazine. Subscribe now at speedboat.com for 9 power-packed current issues a year direct to your mailbox.